This is the comic genre that will become popular in 2023. The young boy traveled to a novel's cultivation world, but did not become the main character. Instead, I became a small villain who couldn't even survive past level 3. The protagonist forcefully takes his childhood sweetheart as his wife. Since she was familiar with the fate of the villain in the story, if no changes are made, the protagonist will be killed. Suddenly, a ringing sound echoed in my mind. Welcome to the world of the novel Pride of the Nine Provinces. This system is the devouring Kai-Yun system. It allows the host to observe the aura towers above others' heads, to assess another person's aura. At the same time, the host defeated the opponent in the Kai-Yun tower. The better, the rewards obtained by the host of the moon person. Zhu Beiwing heard the system's words. Suddenly stood up straight, looking at the jade atop the male lead's childhood sweetheart's head, looking again at the 5 on my head. Then he looked again at the top of his servant's head. That number reached 25. Feeling very unbalanced inside, I can understand why the protagonist's wife is so bright. But why are the servants who serve water taller than me instantly deflated, thinking that the protagonist will arrive tomorrow? What should I do about my own life? Suddenly thought of the biggest female antagonist in this book, the royal princess. According to the setting in the novel, she has incredible martial arts skills. Suddenly thought of a way to survive. I must go to the police to report the villain's lair, as a loyal little brother. At this moment, Zhu Beiwen arrived at the residence of the Grand Princess, looking at the rows of princesses. At a loss, suddenly saw the princess's personal attendant with the eunuch. Hastily stepped forward to greet and introduce himself. There is a need to meet the princess in public. Suddenly pulled out a handful of money from his sleeve, handed it to the elder Yu and walked in through the back door, looking at the person sitting in the luxurious leather seat, the majestic and imposing Grand Princess. The princess looked at the newcomer and asked, "Who are you?" Zhu Beiwang said his name is Zhu Beiwang. "A few days ago, Princess, you bestowed upon me a marriage proposal." The Grand Princess remembered. "You look quite good. Unfortunately, the foundation is too fractured." Zhu Beiwing listened to what the princess said. "He who can compete with you, the great villain. You and I are both villains. Why are you able to hold on until the end?" But I couldn't make it past the 3rd episode. At this moment, the princess said impatiently, "If you're here to express gratitude, just get out. This princess doesn't have time to listen to your nonsense." Zhu Beiwang quickly said upon hearing this, "I want to ask the Grand Princess for a treasure." The Grand Princess looked at Zhu Beiwang. "No one has ever dared to ask this princess for a favor. What value can you bring to me?" Zhu Beiwang quickly said, "I have learned an important piece of news. Ji Lao's eldest son made a pact with the enchanting demon." The princess listened to these words. With a sharp gaze, they looked at Zhu Beiwang. Is the way of asking for truth real? Of course, it's the real princess. I apologize if the information is incorrect. Half enjoying great wealth and not sharing the same sky with evil. Ji Lao is also the prince of the Long Princess, the male protagonist in the novel. I discovered this matter by chance, achieving both fame and wealth. The next moment, the princess bizarrely believed, then asked what reward you wanted. Zhu Beiwing said with a silly smile, "I want a bottle of resilience potion." As soon as the voice fell, the princess took out a vial of potion from her waist, and also sent a bottle of broken mirror elixir to Zhu Beiwing. Then Zhu Beiwing happily left. Now I can be considered the Long Princess's leg. Wait for me to hug the thigh of the Long Princess. I can cancel the marriage contract whenever I want. But for some reason I feel a bit anxious right now. I couldn't go out. As soon as I stepped outside, my underling carried me back. Just got home and found out I didn't get a bargain. Holding a wedding for myself against my will. At that moment, a loud roar echoed. Dog thief, give me death. The one who has arrived is the male lead of the original novel, Yi Yan. The man has not eaten, drunk, or slept at home for 3 days, watching the beautiful live stream of a decent life continuously. The final brain tower machine suddenly died at home. When I woke up again, I found myself transported to the century, the son of a famous general with the same name, and learned about his cheap old shop. He also found himself a stunningly beautiful wife. However, when I learned that my daughter-in-law, suddenly startled, because this is exactly the female lead from the novel I read, realizing that I have traveled into the novel I once read. The little villain who can't survive the polls. At that moment, a voice came through. The male protagonist, Yi Tian, makes his entrance. As soon as they appear, they recite lines that could earn 31 points. And please move aside. I killed that scoundrel Zhu Beiwine, and then I'll take you away. The female lead said sadly, I don't know you, please leave. Then he communicated with Yi Tian again. You should leave quickly. There are too many skilled fighters here, and you can't defeat him. Zhu Beiwen watched the two of them from the side, looking again at the male lead with an aura of 97. I'm afraid that just stepping outside could lead to finding a treasure. We must come up with a solution. Then stepped forward and grabbed the female lead's hand. The heroine looked at the hand he had grabbed. I felt a strong resistance inside but couldn't open my eyes. If Princess Chang knows that I rejected this marriage, the Shen family must die. At this moment the male lead could no longer contain his killing intent, charged forward and drew his bow. Yet it was caught single-handedly by Zhu Beiwang, and he also brought his arrows that were damaged when he attacked, and also knocked Yi Tian out. Yi Tian looked at Zhu Beiwan in disbelief. Isn't he just a worthless loser who was raised on elixirs? How can you become stronger than me? In the next moment, Zhu Beiwen once again used his aura, pushed down the night sky that had just stood up, flying happily in my heart. Fortunately, I was prepared early. The crown princess truly is different with the elixir given by the big shot. I must hold onto this thigh tightly. At this moment, the female lead stepped forward and said, Please do me a favor and let him hide. The male lead watched as his childhood friend pleaded for him. Furious, he broke through his limits on the spot. Zhu Beiwen watched as the realm was easily broken through by Yi Tian. Scoffing in anger, instantly summoned his own life-bound weapon. In the novel, Zhu Beiwen is quite mediocre in martial arts. But the only outstanding thing is the situation. Take advantage of the current effects of the medicine and finish this quickly. He plucked a string at random. Suddenly, a magical artifact flew out from Yi Tian, blocked Zhu Beiwang's attack. A hunting axe suddenly appeared beside Yi Tian. The night sky was drawn in. At this moment, the system prompted that the host had repelled the son of Kaiyun. Thought the host skillfully seized the spoils. Zhu Beiwen thought to himself, I must have bad luck, but I can't plunder the spoils, as long as I treat those lucky ones like chives. Isn't it that you can have whatever you want? At that moment, Zhu Beiwang's parents came up to ask if anyone was injured. Zhu Beiwang brushed it off with a few words. Then he turned to the female lead, who wanted to speak. If you have something to say it quickly. If not, just leave. The female lead quickly stepped forward and said, Please let Yi Tian go. As long as you don't kill her, I am willing to marry you. Zhu Beiwing smiled wickedly and said, Then you will move into the Zhu residence tomorrow. Hey, there is this perfect tool person. Why worry about the knight not coming to deliver red envelopes? The most critical task to achieve the goal now. Just hug the big head of the long princess. The man must smile every day to please the princess. Just because I crossed over and became a small antagonist who gets slapped by the male lead, and at any moment the male lead could kill him. To save his own life, the man could only hold tightly onto the princess's large head, because the man knows that the eldest princess is not only hardworking but also profound, and she is the biggest ant in this book. It's good to have Princess Chang's help. Only a man can repel the son of Kai Yun. Zhu Beiwing looked at the rewards he received from the system, disappointed with a closed face. The sword manual won't practice itself. As for this fragment, it seems that the male lead is extremely fragmented, opening the secret realm to obtain the treasure. I won't encounter the secret realm anymore. It still relies on your night sky's charm. As for this core crispy milk, it's just what I need. This potion can enhance one's physical constitution. It is a miracle drug for. Then they began to absorb the potion. In a moment, Zhu Beiwen finished smoking, looking at the muscles on my body. Not saying a word, this is the feeling of transformation. Then look at the invisibility charm rewarded by the system on the table. Not much interest, because this talisman is completely ineffective against experts. Unfortunately, the system did not reward Yichan's preparation. Otherwise, one could learn the brain-devouring technique of Yichan. I really want to work a bit harder tonight. Let me harvest the chives early. Reaching the supreme realm, suddenly Zhu Beiwen thought of something. Relying solely on him, my supreme path will have to wait until the year of the monkey and the month of the horse. One chive is not enough to cut. We need more children of grace. The more, the better. I just don't know where to go. In the next moment, Zhu Beiwen thought of something again. The original protagonist's mother. But bought a zihua for myself at the 6 gates. This kid hasn't gone even once. These 6 gates, whether for capturing someone or for the one being captured. There are quite a few experts. Finding 2 people to cut chives shouldn't be too hard. Then went to the 6 gates. As soon as I arrived at Liu Shan Men, I was stopped by a sound of union. Zhu Beiwang looked at the newcomer and asked who it was. This person must be a master. Cutting chives is just a matter of time. I need to test his limits and see how he reacts. Don't hit. Little girl, if you tell me to go, then I will go. Aren't I losing face? The woman's temper flared up instantly. He took out the dart and threw it. Zhu Beiwen watched him as he immediately started fighting without any provocation. Also developed an interest. Just the right opportunity to test his authority, just as he was about to throw a punch. This action drew the attention of those nearby. Isn't that Zhu Beiwen, who was out with the wind yesterday? Zhang clan leader is at the peak of the 7th rank, the 9th prodigy of the Kinyan list. He even dares to confront the clan leader. The woman preparing to take action nearby. Listen to what they are saying. Thinking of the lesson Zhu Beiwen wrong. In the end, I decided to withdraw my spiritual power. Do not engage with Zhu Beiwen. Zhu Beiwen watched him withdraw his hand without striking. I felt a sudden sense of relief. It's good that we stopped fighting. I am completely more imposing than this. Yet it never fell on my mind. She just pulled me directly. Arrived at her room. The woman directly asked about that line from the Bible last night. There is also Yitian. Tell you the detailed information you know. Zhu Beiwing listened to what he said. You asked me alone for this reason. Then the big deception began. This makes me so angry. I am just a big victim. Almost died after being kidnapped for marriage. Please help me take revenge, Chief. Don't worry, you are my subordinate. I will definitely help you." Zhu Beiwing listened to what he said. He Tian, I can never tell you. He is my chives. The important message of the Bible's strong figures. I also can't tell him. The princess knows, yet she doesn't strangle him to death. At this moment, Princess Chang summoned Zhu Beiwing. Zhu Beiwing quickly waved his hand to say goodbye. Arrived at the Princess Chang's Yuing Hall. The Grand Princess saw him achieve merit. Grant him a token. There is also an exorcism cue. Then the princess ordered him to get out. Walking alone on the street. Suddenly, I saw a 32 aura value ahead. Suddenly, in the next moment, it turned into 92. Zhu Beiwen was so shocked that his eyes almost popped out. The man was just an ordinary person with a charisma value of 32 seconds ago. In the next moment, I suddenly became 92 and took center stage. This scene completely stunned the passerby, Zhu Beiwen. Zhu Beiwen saw this and rushed forward to seize the opportunity. The man certainly would not give it. What can be done when Zhu Beiwen's family is so wealthy and powerful? He also took out the jade token given by the princess to threaten. The man had no choice but to concede. Zhu Beiwen looked at the item he had intercepted. It seems I have uncovered the hidden features of the system. If the aura value suddenly soars, it represents an upcoming opportunity. I just don't know what this thing really is. How about we see if we can take down that old 6 first? Then they went to the 6 gates. Upon arriving at the 6 gates, the female clan leader informed me. In the suburbs of the city, there is a 6-tiered pig demon that harms people. Tonight, I will take you to exorcise the evil spirits. You are now the elite of our team. The clan leader intentionally kicked you out to cultivate you. Zhu Beiweng said it's better to forget it. I won't be able to fight back then. What if the clan leader gets taken away by the pig demon again? Then you don't have to worry too much. The principle of the 6 gates is absolute obedience to orders. You have to go this time, even if you don't want to. Of course, if you are not satisfied with me, you can go report to the commander. You can also go and complain to the Long Princess. Zhu Beiwing saw that he was determined to take me away. Tonight he came with more guys. I haven't figured out how to use this treasure of mine yet. We need to go find someone to help. Meanwhile, on the other side, the Princess Chang is engaged in a horse dance. Zhu Beiwing saw this and began to flatter. Then he presented the opportunity he had snatched to the crown princess. The princess looked at the item Zhu Beiwing handed over. Your eyes are quite discerning. Ordinary people really wouldn't know what this is. Then pointed to the center of the treasure. Inside, there is a sealed formation. As long as you recognize the truth after shedding blood, it will form a magical tool of a prison cage. This magical artifact can forcefully suppress your opponent. Let his vital energy and your vital energy be at the same level. However, if it's a dancer above the 6th rank mid-level, it may be hard to suppress. Of course, there are exceptions. At this moment, Zhu Beiwang looked at the cage forming into a magical artifact in his hands, with a proud expression. If I, a bronze, were to encounter a gold, if you can't beat them, rely on this. Pull the other party from gold hardstone to bronze. Defeat him again with skilled maneuvers. Suddenly, while still lost in my own fantasies, she was thrown out by a whip from the Grand Princess. A large pit was smashed into the ground not far away. Zhu Beiwing looked at his masterpiece. Smile happily. The radio's air mask is indeed impressive. I didn't die like this. But next time, I mustn't anger the Long Princess. What if I get so desperate that I actually die? I'm done for. Then looking at the invisibility obtained from the system in hand. Now I have a treasure that can suppress my true energy. Now may not necessarily be your opponent. Besides, you were the one who provoked me first. Meanwhile, Zhu Beiweng followed the female clan leader to the outskirts of the city, Blind Mountain. The matriarch took out an object called a waste disk. This is specifically used by the Six Gates to hunt demons. The higher the grade of the monster, the red light grew stronger. The pig demon is nearby now. We will search separately. Once encountered, immediately channel your true energy into it. I will come to save you when I sense it. Hey, I guess the clan leader will definitely arrive late. HMPH. Don't say such useless things. If you dare to flee at the critical moment, let us meet our great-grandfather. I will not spare you. You little brat. I just want to pursue you. What can you do? Then the two of them exchanged pleasantries and left one after the other. At that moment, Zhu Beiwang sensed something was off. A pig demon standing 50 feet tall appeared, approached Zhu Beiwang, who had only a single-digit score. A wild boar with a vitality value of 50. Thought he could easily crush Zhu Beiwang, who only had a single-digit Kaiyun value. Yet Zhu Beiwang looked at the wild boar with a sinister smile. Just now, Zhu Beiwang summoned the magical artifact. I blasted towards the pig demon. Juju is clearly so cute you. Why must one learn to cause trouble like others? Lao Zhu angrily stared at Zhu Beiwang. Zhu Beiwang directly gestured in response to the pig demon. Suddenly, a 97-layer aura value appeared above the pig demon's head. Zhu Beiwang was taken aback. Is the pig demon the same as that scholar? Everyone can encounter such a treasure as opportunity. At this moment, the pig demon charged at Zhu Beiwang like a madman. Zhu Bei made a gesture to signal, striking out a palm at the pig demon. The pig demon realized it couldn't possibly win in this situation. We need to hurry and run now. Zhu Beiwang saw the collision and immediately chased after. Chased to a cliff. Suddenly, the goose stand in my hand went bang. Zhu Beiwang couldn't understand why his treasure had cracked. Could it be that there is something here restricting his power? Is there a great enemy here? Watching the pig demon's aura value rise to 90. It seems there must be a great opportunity down here. He got up and chased after him. Old Pig watched as Zhu Bei was still chasing from behind. My heart raced so much that I felt like I could roll off the cliff. You little rascal, are you still chasing me? At that moment, Zhu Beiwang looked down at the cliff, something shining with golden light. It seems that this is the opportunity for Old Pig. Since that's the case, then Old Pig, I'm sorry you shouldn't use it either. Then an attack struck towards Old Pig. The Old Pig was directly shattered by the attack. Zhu Beiwang looked at the object radiating golden light before him, gasped in surprise. This is truly the essence. Important Western resources for martial arts training. Rare reality. The treasure that countless cultivators spend their entire lives searching for. I feel like a lucky emperor. It's even more satisfying than the complete set of big swords. At that moment, the essence wanted to slip into the crevice of the stone. Zhu Beiwang pulled him out. In the next moment, the essence directly penetrated into Zhu Beiwang's hand, beginning to absorb the essence of the treasure. In no time, my realm directly broke through to the 8th level. This essence is truly a treasure. We can't let anyone see us. Let's hurry and go. Zymen Patriarch, you can take your time and enjoy yourself. Searched around and disappeared on the spot. Meanwhile, on the other side, Lai Zuchang is still searching for Zhu Beiwang. At that moment, several figures appeared behind him. "Zai, what are you doing here at this time?" "I brought my subordinate Zhu Beiwen here to exorcise demons. Now Zhu Beiwen has disappeared without a trace. I am looking for. I secretly think they are from the Marshall family, the Queen's family. Are they in trouble? Zyman, find that person with the surname Zhu for me right away. Our martial arts clan has been searching for the essence we have sought for many years. It should be related to him as soon as reality is lost." Then everyone went to Zhu Beiwen's residence. "Zhu Beiwang, come out. The person has not yet arrived." A roar echoed through the air. "Wu Shi le ma jiang." In their gaze burned a raging fire. Yan Jai and Mai Ju behind him had complex expressions. The military family checked the city gate's bamboo register. In the dead of night, Zhu Beiwen returned to the capital. Does that mean the Wu family's anger and murderous intent? It all started because of Zhu Beiwang. Zhu Mansion's gatekeeper stepped forward. He asked respectfully, "Ladies and gentlemen, y'all." The voice abruptly stopped. The doorman's gaze was vacant. Black blood oozed from the center of the imay. Bam! The vitality fades. With a loud crash, it fell to the ground. The martial artist's fingers were entwined with true energy, coldly gazed down at the corpse. "Han Shengdao, a stick of incense is time. Otherwise, wipe out the Zhu family." The atmosphere was as stiff as iron. The Zhu family guards were on high alert, split into two rows at the door. In the gaze of all, a figure in a white robe slowly stepped out. He looked at the corpse on the ground. The expression suddenly turned extremely cold. "You are Zhu Beiwen. Hand over the items. Otherwise, your 9 clans will suffer." The martial artist dismounts, striding confidently in front of the handsome man. The gaze was filled with resentment. Zhu Beiwen quickly regained his composure. She glanced at him gently. "What is it?" The martial artist's expression was fierce. "Murd, what are you going to Blind Mountain for? Why return to the capital in the middle of the night? Did you steal the treasured heirloom of the Wu family?" He pronounced the words Wu family with great emphasis. Zhu Beiwen shook his head. A smile that made one break into a cold sweat appeared on their face. "What should I do? It's just a trip to Blind Mountain to pick mushrooms." As soon as the words were spoken, the martial artist's energy surged throughout his body. Outside the Zhu residence, the atmosphere was tense. Chaotic footsteps. The powerful official Wen Zun arrived in this square area. They recognized the martial artist at first glance. He is indeed the second son of Wu Guo. Disappeared for a few years. I didn't expect such a grand celebration at the Zhu residence today. The martial artist's will was filled with a fierce intent to kill. Coldly questioning, "I'll give you another chance. Did someone really steal the Wu family's treasure?" Zhu Beiwen remained unflustered. The gentle breeze and light clouds asked back, "Is the mushroom in the Blind Mountain cultivated by the Wu family?" "Aj." The martial artist's face was filled with intense conflict. That'll a fierce gaze, unrestrained, a furious shout. The crowd fell silent, focusing intently. Minister Zhu has come out. A young warrior came to seek justice. "Do you really think the Zhu family is made of clay?" Zhu Jing glanced at the body in the hidden room. Stern reprimand. Arrogant and domineering in the capital. "I will definitely impeach you in the court." Impeachment. Martial Master Ning smiled. He was convinced that Zhu Beiwen had stolen the golden essence, then turned to face the crowd. "Every word is deliberate. The Wu family discovered a gold mine in Blind Mountain. This mine, the Wu family dug for a full 3 years. Last night, Zhu Beiwen entered the mine, stealing the golden essence. But like thunder crashing from the skies. A storm surged in the minds of the crowd. It turns out to be golden essence. This moment, everyone's gaze changed, including Zhu Jing and Yao Man. The gaze couldn't hide the look of shock. Not coming back, the Wujia will not rest until the Zujia is destroyed. The warriors' anger flared fiercely. Emotions have completely spiraled out of control. The crowd parted in all directions. They could see the intensity in each other's eyes. I initially thought the Wu family was overwhelmingly arrogant. It seems now they have a legitimate reason for their actions. That is gold essence, regarded as a heavenly treasure by the Tianji Pavilion, the treasure that even the third-rank grandmaster covets. Golden marrow can nurture gold and stone, and every few months it will drop a drop of essence. Essence is the purest spiritual source between heaven and earth. Improve the foundational essence and enhance material properties. There is a higher chance of evolving into a special physique. Su Wei, if you really stole the golden marrow, hand it over now. A court censor affiliated with the Empress's faction spoke up to advise. Yeah, after all, that is the Wu family's mine. Not a thing without a master. Sio went. Some opportunities cannot be seized. Many officials close to the Zhu family. They also began to speak up, involving the top-tier resource known as Jinsui. Don't underestimate the mere position of Minister of Revenue. So what if he is a prime minister? Dare to oppose the Wu family? Washi adjusts his emotions. Not only smiled, tried to ease the atmosphere. Hand over the golden marrow. The warrior family is willing to gift 100 pieces of high-quality gold stone. Zhu Gongzi, this kindness, I will remember it in my heart. The queen will remember as well. The crowd gazed at the handsome man. The crops painstakingly cultivated by the Wujia family. You're doing well. All stolen by others. Now they are willing to give you a portion of the rice. What else are you dissatisfied with? One should not be too greedy. Even Simon Yingyu has this idea. If it were him, it also assesses the situation. Choose to take out the gold essence. Suddenly, a puzzled voice came from the front door. What are you talking about? I can't understand. I have really foraged for mushrooms in Blind Mountain. Whoa! Everyone's expression changed dramatically. To clear the suspicion, Zhu Beiwang briefly recounted his experiences. First, they encountered the strange Dimin orb, after half a quarter of an hour of fighting. Unable to resist, they fled. Then, in the valley, I saw a row of mushrooms. He picked them one by one. First, break the root tendons. Take another sniff. Is it poisonous? Shut up. The story was interrupted at noon. His face turned green. Last time. Will you give it back or not? Zhu Beiwang frowned. He asked cautiously, have you browned it yet? The air is thick and stagnant. The two faced off at the tree knee. Suddenly, at noon, a snap of the fingers. The 5 families held crossbows in their hands. Search, digging 3 feet into the ground. We also need to find the golden essence. After finishing a sword step, as Zhu Jing hesitated, rush directly into the room. 1 step, 2 steps, crossing the threshold. Whoa! The 5 families suddenly narrowed their eyes. It felt as if a hand was gripping my heart. Be careful, someone roared out loud. At noon, I suddenly realized. The clothes fluttered. The true energy gathers on the back. Rumbling, a hand came swooping down from the sky. The energy of nature spreads freely. Overwhelming pressure. This moment feels like a theft. Rushing towards noon, it spreads like a tide. The screen abruptly stops. The crowd fell silent. Almost can only hear the sound of my own heartbeat. But at noon, Fu knelt on the ground. A phantom hand brushed against the back of the neck. The bloodshot eyes bulged, lips moving. He seemed to have never thought about it. Death came so unexpectedly. Finally, remained still. The half of the body convulsed violently a few times, then fell to the ground with a thud. Shen Yaoi retracted his palm. Zhu Beiwang stood calmly. I could only see his profile. Smiling again, his gaze was somewhat absent, until the blood splattered on the bluestone slab inside the door. Did this skull looks just like a mushroom. Had a bolt from the blue. The 5 families felt as if they had fallen into an ice cave. The crowd also felt a chill. The Queen's nephew just died like this. A morning in the capital where death occurred. Died like a dog. Zhu Jing stood in place. Suddenly I felt the world spinning. Luxurious burial. Zhu Beiwang slowly raised his hand. The tone was completely emotionless. He pointed to it. It was the body of the doorman. The 5 families finally came to their senses from despair. Streams of true energy surged toward that white-robed figure. Choping, Yao Man had a dull expression on her face. Unconsciously shot out a few darts, blocking the true energy attack for my son. Do you know what you've done? The voice of the court censor trembled uncontrollably, gazing intently at Zhu Beiwang. The shock and thrill in the hearts of the crowd. Still hard to calm down. How dare he? That is the Queen's nephew. This will drag the entire Zhu family into endless hell. Prepare to bear the weight of the entire family. Even the Queen's immense fury. The fate of the Jujiu clan is still mild. The Frog clan is likely to dismember the corpse. Zhu Beiwang's gaze was calm and unruffled. Calmly said, according to the great precept law, innocently entering, one feels at home. The master immediately became the killer. Not guilty. As soon as the words fell, a stir of uproar. Indeed, I have entered the Zhu family. The law is the law. Ultimately, it is the lawmaker that the law protects. Now the Queen holds the power of the world. You killed him here. If you don't die, isn't it in front of everyone? Gave the Queen a hard slap. Where does his face rest? Zai Men's gaze was faintly visible, always focused on Zhu Beiwang. Only he noticed the terrifying point that everyone overlooks. Just had a nasty chat. Instantly defeated a peak 8th grade. Just one move. The atmosphere in the venue became eerie. One strike fails. The 5 families did not seek revenge. They are still in a state of panic and confusion. Time flows slowly. Countless gazes, locked onto that white robe tightly. Everyone is clear. Someone must have secretly notified the 5 families. The imperial decree is about to arrive. The Queen is here. That is not just a life. That is still the face of power at its peak. Immense fear. Yao Man's face instantly turned pale. Her first thought, I am going to find the noble consort. Can the Empress ensure our hopes? A lengthy death track, just a short time, about the burning of one incense stick. A rumbling sound came from the ground. Soldiers patrolling the streets in crane armor. Rush over quickly, become a big web. Tightly seal off the Zhu family area. Che! A loud crane's call rang out in the sky, accompanied by the sound of fluttering wings. A white crane landed beneath the stone. Her mouth is like a winding scroll. The scroll slowly unfurls. Imperial decree, rather than just a piece of paper. The Queen's regency lasted for 10 years. All issued edicts are imperial decrees. The 4 large characters shining in gold on the imperial decree. Pressing the imperial decree, Yao Man's complexion was pale. The way of creation. Wan Zhubei Wan turned his head and smiled, and then stepped on the blood on the ground, walking towards the imperial city. Xinwu, Chenshi. The sound of golden drums echoes through the long street. Luxury cars and BMW. The crowd surged like a tide. A new day. The common people's gossip revolves around the zoo residence by the riverbank. One move to defeat the queen's son. This is too shocking for the person. Undoubtedly ignited an explosive public outcry. Across the long street, there stands a magnificent cave, the towering attic. Janji Pavilion. Everything is recorded in the void as traces of dust. Since the spring and autumn period, she stood tall on the Jeju continent. Witness the rise of the nation and the decline of the holy dragon, the cycle of life, aging, illness, and death. Look quickly. Quick look. The crowd was equally stunned. Half a month ago, this name was still relatively unknown, now actually ranked 15th on the Azure Cloud ranking. Many dancers present. No one raised any objections. After all, one strike was enough to behead a peak 8th rank warrior. It seems effortless. How terrifying must Zhu Beiwang's hidden strength be? Everyone reined in their expressions of shock. Continued to sweep the charts. Except for Zhu Beiwang. Still the same old faces on the list. You all say, will the Wujia clan entice young Master Zhu? A dancer whispered. Others dislike him. With firm words stated, let the Wu family suffer this great humiliation. Hiki Xian. Upon hearing this, the crowd nodded subconsciously. It seems that this rising talent, it's about to fall. The phoenix with broken wings. How sad it is. Yes, Zhu Gongzi could originally shine like the sun, illuminating the entire continent. Now it must come to an abrupt end. Trespassing into a private residence. Killing is not a crime. This comes from the previous legal interpretation. Is the law now ineffective in front of Da Kaiyan? The dancers were discussing among themselves. Everyone is standing up for Zhu Beiwang. Regarding matters, they naturally prefer to stand on the side of the disadvantaged. Compared to the martial clans of the imperial family, Zhu Beiwang is completely at a disadvantage. Let it be kneaded and flattened. In the imperial prison, the damp and dark environment is filled with a musty smell. Even during the day, it's so dark that the daylight can't be seen even without turning on the lights. Interrogation room. The dignitaries in purple robes stared at the man in white before them. In a desperate situation, so calm and composed, this gas is truly rare. Do you plead guilty? The Minister of Justice stared intently at Zhu Beiwang like a bug eye. The remaining jury members remained silent. The first moment the major case occurred. In the afternoon, the three-person tribunal was formed. Singbu, Dolly Temple, the Yushi Tai and other officials jointly interrogated and convicted. What crime is there? Zhu Beiwang's wrist moved slightly. A crisp sound echoed as the chopsticks clattered down. The imperial court's top secret prison has a restrictive formation. As long as you enter inside, prisoners cannot use their true energy. The gaze became extremely oppressive, like the eyes of an insect. Killing wantonly under the feet of the Son of Heaven. Death penalty. Capital punishment. Zhu Beiwang leaned against the preparation. There is no benefit in the eyes. If following the great laws is also a sin, then I willingly accept my fate. You, like a bug-eyed monkey head rolling, biting down hard on the molars. He actually received an old death order from the 5 nations. The Zhu family must be exterminated along with their 9 clans. Only then can one avenge the death of their child. The samurai family's deep hatred for this child, if it can be put on the scale. 1,000 pieces of gold cannot repay 1,000 pieces of enmity. Samurai intrude into a civilian home, under everyone's gaze. Who can call this trespassing? The mansion is defined as private property by the outer courtyard. According to the witness's testimony, the warrior stepped just half a step over the threshold. Yu Shizhen Cheng remained loyal, but felt endangered without anger. The tone was very sharp. Unexpectedly, Zhu Beiwan showed no signs of panic or confusion. He even laughed back sarcastically. Renzu Yushi debates Liahua. It does not change the fact that I was acting in self-defense. A strange death trap has fallen into the cell. Dong Chen knew in his heart. This case is very tricky. Once Zhu Beiweng is executed, how to silence the murmurs of the capital? He truly did not violate the great laws. In the brutal world of martial arts, order and rules are necessary. Da Qian played the role of maintaining order. Power is always built upon violence. 1,000 years ago, it is precisely because the Jai family produced two half-step supremes. They were the ones who could overthrow the previous dynasty, become the order creator with the most cultivation resources. Since we are still under the rule of Jai Jaya, that must comply with the law. At least on the surface, it should be impeccable. Moreover, the original intention of the founding emperor of the previous dynasty in establishing laws. It showcases benevolence. Protect of those ordinary citizens without skills. For the martial arts masters who can shatter mountains and sever rivers. Instead, there aren't so many rules and constraints. In front of Zhu Beiwang, it is very easy to take advantage of the martial artist's foolishness. If it were an ordinary person, one can only pay for their own stupidity. But that ultimately is Wu Zeshan's nephew. If the law favors the powerful, regard someone like me, a commoner, as mere grass and sheep. Then I'll wait for the autumn to ask for my beheading. A warm voice echoed again in the cell. The ministers' faces were stiff. It feels as disgusting as swallowing a fly. This young one is quite skilled at labeling others. Still pretending to be a victim. You can sever the martial artist's head with a single palm strike. It is said that at that time they didn't even wrinkle their brows. Beneath the captivating beauty, hiding a cold-blooded and heartless heart. If you do not die, in the future it will surely become a disaster. Lu Changyan coldly reprimanded. You have stolen the essence of the Wu family first. As above, Zhu Beiweng interrupted him. Speak in a relaxed tone, regardless of whether I have essence or not. This is two different matters. Cannot be confused. The current focus is on, I naturally defend myself. Am I guilty? How to convict? This is the issue the interrogation team looks forward to resolving. As for wrongfully accusing me of stealing the essence, that is a private matter between me and the Wu family. The company clearly understands this principle. You all understand better than I do, right? I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. Several big shots nodded instinctively. Can react instantly. Look at this situation. It feels like you are judging us. I explained everything to you. Lu Chongyuan's eyes were filled with suppressed fury. Angry roar. Unrestrained. Do you still see a distinction between high and low status in your eyes? After saying that, they turned and left. He and his officials were in close proximity to each other. And then they left one after another. They cultivate the Confucian spirit of righteousness, can see through all things. Insight into human nature. This junior, the scheming is simply terrifying. Perhaps at the moment of taking a life, it's already been calculated. Next step, a brief sentence about the future. Still sexually armed, The lethality is not suitable for a strike from a Holy Realm expert. The Xuande emperor has been in a deep sleep for 10 years. Wu Hu became the helmsman of the giant ship Da Qian. The Battle of the Ages. Da Qian suffered heavy losses. The order in the Jiang who is chaotic. Wu Zetian stepped forward to support the Grand Chancellor of the mansion, win the praise of the world. But gradually, even the dullest person can sense that something is off. It's been 10 years. At first, it was an excuse that several princes were too young, but now the crown prince is already married. Why hasn't Empress Wu delegated power yet? To say it's delayed is to be infatuated with power. Chai Bai Dian is the female lead of the official career, Qian Kun. Now, Zhu Beiweng speaks, placing Empress Wu in a southern predicament. Except for Zhu Beiweng, violated the great precept established by the Chicken clan. Do you really think the royalists don't exist? This case was guided by someone with ulterior motives. It will definitely escalate to a struggle for imperial power. The grand court of the previous dynasty. Everyone is on edge. The martial world will once again fall into endless chaos. If the younger generation of the Zhou family does not perish, fear is yet another great disaster. No wonder the fifth consort is favored. This style is exactly the same. The interrogation had just fallen silent. Footsteps were heard again. The Minister of Justice returned like a bug. He looked down coldly at Zhu Beiweng. Voluntary confession. Then hand over the golden essence. The queen can spare you from death. Exiled you to the city of sin. Zhu Beiweng smiled uncertainly. The only city by the Great Wall. Sin City. Once you enter this city, to become a lifelong guardian of the Great Wall, loyal to duty, life and death due to personal matters, lifetime mission. It is to resist the evil in the northern region of the spine. You don't want to implicate the Zhou family, do you? Suddenly, the insect's eye spoke softly. Zhu Beiweng's expression was cold. The voice remains calm. If you have the ability, then there won't be any verbal threats. The rage of the incompetent is quite ridiculous. Blame that fool for being too stupid. Glaring fiercely at Zhu Beiweng for a few seconds. Remember this face well. Then left in anger. Zhu Beiweng looked towards the handbird, eyes flickering in the dim and bright lights. Deeply sorrowful and profound. He actually follows a cautious way of doing things. It's best to cultivate quietly for 20 years. He had no intention of getting involved in the fight. Never thought of offending the Wu family. But this time, it truly touched upon Zhu Beiweng's youthful spirit. My roots are deeply cracked. The atmosphere is utterly unfortunate. Without the support of noble families and soldiers. It all relied on the opportunity of the fox heist, barely making ends meet. In this world of the survival of the fittest in martial arts, life has been hard enough already. You're doing well. It's fine if you don't have sympathy. They even came to my door to steal my treasure. How can this be human? I have no choice but to kill you. The setting sun hangs at the edge of the sky. The afterglow of sunset falls into Wayang Palace. In the golden incense burner, the faint smoke drifts away. The palace was filled with a faint metallic scent. The minister of Dali bowed slightly. Zhen Zhangdao, Fu Weitianhu's judgment, we comply with your orders. The remaining members of the tribunal stood with their hands at their sides and heads bowed. They dare not express their stance on this case. It can only be pushed to the Empress, if the intention is to be carried out. Let's get it done. This is not just a simple law of transformation. Looking at the public opinion trends from both the government and the opposition, there is a subtle trend towards the conflict for the supremacy of the powerful martial empire. Nanyang sometimes unable to close my eyes in death. A beautifully ill middle-aged man kneels before the hall. Hoarse voice, slightly choked with tears. At this moment the old master Wuchingse of Dacian country, blood-red eyes, like a demon from hell. If it weren't for the last shred of reason remaining, he can rush away from the imperial prison, dismember the beast with the surname Zhu into 1,000 pieces. The grudge of the child's death, unbearable to coexist. The minister of Dali stepped forward to offer comfort. Yuoju Yi, please accept my condolences. Wu Chenxi pushed it open. Faces in intense conflict. Roared, "It's not your son who's dead." The corner of the Dali temple chief's mouth twitched slightly, silently returned to the class train. "Anyway, you have more sons. Not lacking this fool. Nianyang, killing for a life is only natural. Zhu Sheng does not die. How to correctly apply criminal law." Wu Chenxi crashed to the ground, making a hissing sound. All the ministers looked at the empress dressed in a magnificent gown with yellow tassels. Lengthy wait, with a uniquely high-pitched voice. Echoing in the palace, "Everything must be decided by me personally. This palace is filled with worry and concern. Strenuous endeavors. Who are you complaining to again?" The elegant lady slowly turned around. The lips were slightly curved in a gentle smile. She has a broad and fragrant forehead, phoenix-eyed and arched brows. A 9-tailed phoenix hairpin was inserted into a stunning beauty with an enchanting charm, though I have already turned 40. But looking at it, it still appears to be in their 20s. All the ministers heard this. Bow down again and play the ostrich. Huazhao couldn't obtain the royal decree. Spoke softly. "Is it difficult for everyone to make a decision? If that child, it was truly self-defense. That is clearly innocent." As the voice fell silent, a dead silence, the officials made every effort to suppress their inner shock. The expression was still filled with disbelief. Listen to the tone of the empress. "It's time to let them go." Wu Chengxi's anger was terrifying. Anger is surging high. The voice was high-pitched. "That is your nephew." Wu Zhao remained indifferent. The gaze shifted to Lu Chonyan. "Lu Shengshu, you also investigated." At that moment, the 5th Division stepped over the threshold of the Zhu residence. "Have you obtained permission from the Zhu family?" Lu Chonyan looked very flustered. In an instant, "I truly don't know how to respond." The queen had just finished speaking to him. "The 5 family sons cannot die in vain. Why has the tone changed so suddenly?" Slightly pondering, he rolled his throat with difficulty. Not available. Instant death, invasion of a private residence. Deserved to be killed. Convey the imperial edict. Release that child immediately." On Huazhao's face, with a charming smile, said it lightly. 50% of thought is self-desire to practice. "No, shut up." The smile of Wu Zhao gradually faded. Looking down at him, teaching children without words. Decide once and for all. Wu Chengxi felt both startled and fearful. The nails are not enough to cover the palm. Exuding threads of blood, the courtiers felt a chill down their spines. In this serene smile, what thoughts are hidden within? Step aside. With the command given, the palace only retains 50% of its thoughts. Younger sister, do you want to make the Wuji of the laughing stock of the world? That beast killed the snake. This is trampling on your authority. In front of the entire capital, let the 5 families be embarrassed, ignoring the differences in status. Wu Chengxi's voice trembled with anger. Wu Zhao stared at him. The gaze grew colder. "Everything has its rules. Remember this phrase for me. At 30, one should stand firm. He is still just a useless fool, believed to be at Wujia. There is a golden ticket for immunity from death, 30 years old. Being a 20-year-old child, one move and it's over, both foolish and useless. Death is not to be regretted. Wu Chengxi clenched his fists tightly. Emotions are still out of control. This moment, in his eyes, you will feel the indifference of the one in power, fully revealed. Wu Xiao lowered his gaze. Lift the lid of the golden incense burner, holding a plain silver lead in my hand. Go to play with the incense ash. He hesitated for a moment. It seems random. 50. The imperial teacher has gone to visit his majesty. Wu Chenxi suddenly lifted his head. Banner rarely step into the imperial city. Why did you specially come to see his majesty today? Could it be transmitting some kind of signal? The surname of Da Kayan is Jai. Still the surname Wu. What a smart child. Wudao Yan's words were filled with admiration. The flickering lights conceal a strong intent to kill, despite the pressure from the royalists. Qi Wu Chengxi still felt unwilling. He said in a harsh voice, "The reason why the Zhu family's little beasts are so arrogant. It's just that there's a fifth scoundrel backing him up." Wu Zhao looked gloomy. Lan Chai said, "You are really foolish. Even a 20-year-old child are far from enough. In this matter, who does he need to rely on? One sentence has left me in a difficult position. A single sentence set the entire capital's public opinion ablaze. A single sentence made that old man step out of his house. He had already foreseen it. We 5 families have no choice." Luodun. Wu Zhao let out a sigh. It seems like whispering to oneself. Why was the 5th generation able to attract such talent? Outside the imperial prison, the ministers gathered together. Zhu Jing and her husband eagerly looked forward. The iron gate opened. A figure in a white robe slowly walked out. "Feel the Kai flowing in you." Zhu Beiwen lazily moved his arms. "Whoa." Yao Man ran over. Zhu family's only son was of mediocre talent. Wickedness knows no bounds. A typical stubborn youth. This is a complete rumor. King Yan list no. 15. Decisive in killing and cutting. A complete masterpiece of human achievement. Could it be that it was previously hidden away? Or perhaps there is none? Chenjai hiding in the crowd, with a puzzled expression. Why has this son-in-law changed so much? It's simply beyond her understanding. Previously, under the pressure of the noble consort, she had no choice but to send her daughter to the Zhu residence. But now it seems this decision isn't so bad after all, at least on the evil Liao. You can still see a few shining points. Zhu Bei'an. The suppressed rage of the gun. Wu Chengxi stared intently at the sandy enemy before him. "You are." Zhu Beiwan frowned. The crowd was furious. "Killing someone else's son isn't enough. Are you going to humiliate me again?" Wu Chengxi gritted his teeth, suppressing the anger. Lan Bingbing said, "Immediately hand over the essence." Zhu Beiwan faced his murderous gaze. Dan said, "I don't have it." "Well." Minister of Justice Lu Chuanyuan jumped into the river. He took out a decree from his sleeve. "The search warrant is here. If you do not cooperate, that is defying the court." As the words fell, the atmosphere fell into silence. The ministers observed the handsome young man with great interest. "What's done is done, even though you were pardoned for murder. But one cannot escape the essence of theft. This time, calling the messenger won't help me. The reason they came to the imperial prison, just to satisfy my curiosity. Will Zhu Jai's boy still insist on not delivering the essence? As for whether it has essence, they've started killing. It goes without saying. The item returns to its rightful owner. Do not mislead yourself. Wu Chengxi's gaze was filled with resentment, forehead glistening with beads of sweat. He has accepted the fact that he cannot take revenge on the snake for now, although Mingli had no way to handle this situation. Shouldn't it be possible to tidy up? The most important thing right now is the essence. In my sister's eyes, the life of a snake is insignificant in the face of essence. This essence is prepared for the Wu family's killing. That is the Brahma war body, a rare genius. Awakened my abilities at the age of 10. Cayenne Ziu had never participated in battle for 10 years, nor do they chase after the false fame of the Qingyan rankings. But as long as he is born, that will surely push the heroes of the 9 provinces aside. Pride of becoming a samurai, the Wu family plans to refine him with essence and energy, to make its already nearly perfect body, achieving perfection. Zhu Beiwa, since you are well versed in the law, then you should know. What punishment should be given for stealing a precious treasure? Lu Chang'an spoke again. The tone was mixed with sarcasm. This is called returning the body with the way of the pen. Yao Man looked extremely worried. What a grand spectacle in front of me. There are definitely hints of Wu Zetian. In other words, Wu who can turn a blind eye to the death of the warrior. But the essence is not there. Zhu Bei Wang squinted. The expression remained unchanged. He just wants to laugh. This move is to set the tone first. Using fists to oppress others. Having a great time. The essence is the spirit of heaven and earth. How did it become the possession of your 5 families? If it really belongs to your 5 families, why endure 3 years digging a mine? But he is clear. A war of words is meaningless. Resources ultimately speak with fists. Are you going to return it or not? Wu Chengxi roared. Patience has worn thin. Spirit of the soldiers erupts. Actually, he felt deep down, hoping the other person holds on tightly. Then there's an excuse to kill. Zhu Beiweng stared at him for a few seconds. Pingjing Dao Compath. I am here on the orders of the esteemed noble consort, going to Blind Mountain to seek the essence. The atmosphere froze in an instant. The ministers were dumbfounded. How did I get connected with Huang Gaifai? Absolutely impossible. Sizi must be causing a scene in Huzhou. Bluffing. Absurd. Who do you think you are? The Empress will ask you to do something. Lu Changyin laughed heartily. The wild fish in the laughter is unreserved. Yu Qin shook his head, suddenly felt a sense of boredom. I thought the Zhu family had some new tricks up their sleeves. It turns out to be a false front, thinking of leveraging the immense power of Empress Huang. Then you can safely walk down the slope. That's a bit too far-fetched. Let's not mention whether Huang Gaifai knows or not. Blind Mountain has its essence. Even if I know, the Grand Masters under her command do not know how to turn against themselves. It is absolutely impossible to send you to carry out the mission. Moreover, this female tyrant is the world's surrounding ants. You really care about someone as insignificant as Zhu Beiwang. 50% defensive, 50% seeking. Meng Zayadao. If you continue to rely on others, transform here. She didn't say the second half of her sentence. But everyone can feel it. That hidden, intense murderous intent, search warrant, represents the will of the Queen of Heaven. Zhu Shelan, as the head of the Zhu family, make a statement. At this moment, officials from the same party subtly advised. Continue to resist in vain. It's just giving the 5 nations a handle. The grudge of sand is deeply ingrained in his heart. Once he finds an excuse, the Zhu family is about to face a thunderous strike. Top-level cultivation resources. In the face of life and death. Is it really important? Zhu Jing's expression was stiff. She stole a glance at her son. I saw that expression completely devoid of any waves. Being a father, I can only swallow the bitter taste at the tip of my throat, silent as a stone. Very good. Wu Cheng let out a cold laugh, furiously waving the robe's sleeves. The Empress's decree. Search the Zhu residence. Who dares to stop? Punished for treason. Can't find the essence. Zhu family was imprisoned in the Zheiyuan. Voice like a great bell, echoing throughout the venue. In front of everyone's gaze, Zhu Beiwang's expression was calm. Dan said, "The five powerful families dominate. It really is about forcefully taking what belongs to others. I can only offer my hands, but we must first seek the consent of the noble consort." A clear and gentle voice filled the space. The ministers struggled to hide their shock. "There is only one thought in my mind. Seize a house, bravery." His attitude was resolute. "There is absolutely no room for maneuver." Wu Chengxi's expression grew increasingly grim. "But the mood is quite pleasant. I just love how you appear both weak and pretentious. This country is just right to torment you, an insignificant ant. Let it smile in the depths of the underworld." Yao Man's palms instantly felt sticky. She instinctively grasped Zhu Beiwang's arm. Wan remained calm and composed. It seemed that even the sky falling and the earth collapsing couldn't make her frown. Why risk your life to preserve the essence? She suddenly had a clever idea, out of professional habit. Quickly sorted out the tangled thoughts. At the 5th hour of the day, 5 families came to visit. Why does Wang not mention the noble consort at all? Never help others clean up afterward. Will not easily intervene to resolve difficulties for subordinates. Unless you can prove your worth. Wang used her own strength to unite the entire Wu family, even causing the queen to lose face. After killing her nephew, can still swagger out of the imperial prison. This is the ability. Now facing the oppression of the queen's power. Will she stand by and watch? Yao Man is unsure. This completely depends on how much weight Wang holds in the empress's heart. First, capture him. A sharp cry of a crane interrupted her thoughts. Lu Changyan waved his hand. Lu Changyan, the jailer under the eaves, rushed over. Yao Man's body was tense. The vital energy within me is rapidly circulating. Brazen, Yao father, the 1,000 households. You are opposing the court. Lu Changxi stared at her. The tone was grim. The arena fell into complete silence. The ministers exchanged glances at each other. It seems the Zhu family is about to enter the imperial prison again. This time, it has brought trouble to the entire Zhu family. Just at this moment, a storm swept in from the distance. The sharp call of the bird breaks through the lingering shadows of dusk. So what? A chilling voice seemed to come from the heavens above. In the howling wind, a begonia flower drifts in the sunlight. The breath was overwhelming, like 9 thunders pressing down. The ministers were all in shock, unable to suppress the horror in my heart. Everyone bowed deeply. "We pay our respects to your highness, the noble consort." Lu Changxi felt as if he had fallen into an ice cave. A chilling feeling arises multiple times. The crowd fell silent. She has arrived. She actually would take action for a small person. "I defy the court." "What can you do?" The indifferent tone came from Haitang. This voice fell into Zhu Beiwang's ears. Like a pearl gliding over silk. It is so pleasant to hear. Lu Changxi's limbs were icy cold. Spoke in a trembling voice with his head lowered. No. This is a private matter of the Wu family." The voice suddenly stopped. The begonia petals unfurl. It gradually formed into a long hand. And suddenly Lu Chongxi felt as if he were hit by a cannonball launched by a chicken, flying straight backwards, heavily slammed onto the ground. The blue steel rock on the ground cracked. Cracks spread outwards in all directions. Pounce! Lu Chongxi's blood surged with anger, coughing up large amounts of fresh blood, blood mixed with teeth. The entire venue was chilling. It feels like the soul is in battle. Yao Man felt ecstatic. Hastily, the voice shouted, "No. The essence is born from the spirit of heaven and earth. It is an unclaimed spiritual object, not owned by the Wu family. The begonia flower looks down upon everyone from above, indifferently spoke. I have taken the essence of your Wu family. So what? Ah, the courtiers were as silent as cicadas in winter. This is how the female tyrant operates. Unyielding dominance. Lu Chongxi has already stood up, maintaining a humble posture, the face turned bright red. This humiliating embarrassment. It almost took his breath away. But he kept gritting his teeth and persevering. This is the queen's decree. Before he could finish speaking, */*. The left side of the face has become red and swollen. Wu Chensi Fu knelt on the ground. Fear flows like a gentle stream, silently wandering through his limbs and bones. The petals of the begonia flower gather together again. The vibrant colors seemed like the bloody claws of death. Little essence, come find me, your majesty. A casual remark drifted through the air. The begonia gradually disappeared from the sight of the courtiers, looking at the disheveled remnants of the 5 kingdoms. Everyone felt a chill as they beat the drums. The queen's biological brother, the figure standing at the top of the great front power tower, but like a miserable wild dog by the roadside, being shamelessly humiliated, facing this female tyrant. What else can she do? That is the 5th Jinshui. People only fear her title as the imperial concubine. No, 10 years ago, this shocking marriage. It's just a political marriage. Xu and emperor needed the power of the noble families. Resist the evil spirits. Defend the nation. When Wu Jingxing married into the palace, Emperor Xu is already on the way to the northern expedition. Then defeated, fell into a deep sleep. The female demon lord is willing to be a bride of the Jai family. It is highly likely to achieve a certain purpose. The true fear of both the court and the common people is the female demon. It is her power that spans the world, and her terrifying power. Can the will and spirit be bestowed upon a begonia? That belongs to the 2nd grade nirvana realm, that is to say, the 27-year-old female demon lord. At least a 2nd grade. It may even be a sacred realm. That's just ridiculous. Such an existence, like a massive rock standing in front of all the people in the world. But right now, the queen dares to disregard everything. Are you going to collide with the giant rock? The long stalemate in the arena was broken. The 5 kingdoms of old, the essence of the matter. Forgive me for my inability. The man in the white robe spoke in a clear and gentle voice, with an innocent expression. Wu Chengxi felt all the blood rushing to the top of her head. He was filled with rage. My eyes wanted to split apart. The roar of life and death trials. You wait for me. The ministers secretly laughed in their hearts. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. Essence is incompetence. You really need to have the ability. Who else is bothering you? 3 years of mining. Lost my son. In the end, I didn't see the essence or the shadow at all. It also embarrassed the 5 families. It is tragic. Zhu Beiwang's deputy couldn't reach him. Whispered, I sincerely apologize for what happened to you, young master. Can I go to the morning hall to pay my respects? Ah, Wu Chengxi was so angry that his whole body trembled, the bloodshot eyes fixed intently on him. Bystander classic also slowly shivered. This child perfectly embodies. What does it mean to bully others by taking advantage of one's power? At such a young age, already like this. When we grow up, it will be something else. Zhu Beiweng smiled faintly, then brushed past Wu Chengxi. I couldn't help but turn back and ask, "You five families wouldn't seek revenge on me, would you?" The expression revealed a sense of fear. The skill level surpasses that of the performers in Ziyun. Still needs to be 3 points in depth. Wu Chengxi wiped the bloodstains from the corner of his mouth, struggling to control the overwhelming dark anger within. Endure. You must endure. The road is still long. Zhu Beiwang stared at him. Suddenly, a deep sigh escaped. If Wudia is jealous of me because of this, it's just going against the noble consort. Think it over carefully. The courtiers internally exclaimed, "What a remarkable person! This is really shameless, isn't it?" However, some people have slight doubts. This child is indeed just playing tricks, still a person relying on others. He might really be a female tyrant. What about the trusted confidant that was carefully nurtured? In deep contemplation, the figure in the white robe, gradually disappearing at the end of the long street. This wonderful performance, and thus the curtain fell. The ministers exchanged glances. Only you cannot bear the old Five Nations. And then they left one after another. Late night, Yao Wan Palace. The exquisite jade-like feet stepped on the carpet. Zai Qin Cheng Ziu Guan King Yi Yu Dai. The majesty spans over 3 feet. Zhu Beiwing had just come from the cultivation chamber of his residence. Brought back the essence. Well done. The voice from the villainess with red lips. Still indifferent. An orange token hovers in mid-air. Zhu Beiwang swiftly made a decision. It has already become a thing of the past. The next goal is to get the yellow one. There is still a green basket. The pair of rounded eyebrows before me must hold on tightly and never let go. However, he still feels that the upgrade speed is too slow. If you possess the noble purple card, that's the core key personnel under the female antagonist. Bei was taken by surprise. Zhu Beiwing quickly offered a compliment. Ding Jinshuang calmly looked down at him. This cup is dedicated to the Empress. Zhu Beiwing pulled out a crystal clear whip from his sleeve. Just let go. The whip is writhing on the carpet. Hiding in the corner, trembling. Junmei's face remained expressionless. Just said lightly, picking up scraps all day long. Finally found a good deal. Truly generous to this palace. Careful observation. A hint of blood was hidden in those cold, emerald eyes. Zhu Beiwing did not hesitate at all. Resounding and powerful. What is the essence worth? Beijai is willing to die for the Empress. To go through fire and water. Without hesitation. Which cup is the Empress pointing at? Resolute tone. With the beauty of Junmei. Looking exceptionally sincere. Sycophant. 5th Jin Shuang's rebellious actions. Unable to obtain the rosewood long table. With a lazy expression. I will take a small piece. After speaking, she took off the jade hairpin. Silky strands of hair cascading like brocade. It has a more ethereal leisure quality. The air rippled. The essence suddenly appeared on the dark machine. The jade hairpin quickly expanded. A colossal pressure filled the palace. The entire body is enveloped in golden mist. Holy rank! Zhu Beiwen was shocked at the end. This mighty aura surpasses the heavenly treasures. I didn't expect the female antagonist to casually use a hairpin. They are all sacred treasures. Chopin, the sound of pure metal clashing. Yuzhen strikes at the essence. brilliant radiance, under the power of the heavenly stair's ultimate treasure. The solid spiritual beings of heaven and earth were destroyed. The essence was split in two. The majestic aura rises from the severed roots. A drop of concentrated essence fell onto the dark machine. Zhu Beiwen quickly ran over upon seeing this. Lying in the darkness, burying my head to lick. The fifth Jin Shuang mask is just within reach, cold as frost. The gaze was like looking at a fool. "Did you lick it clean?" He spoke coldly. "Please wait a moment, Your Highness." Zhu Beiwen spoke ambiguously. "Try to digest it." With a wave of comfort through the Kai-Si meridians, he finally lifted his face, said awkwardly, "Eliminate waste." Fifth Jin Shuang pointed at the small piece of whip. "Walking on the surprising path, essence damage will affect the secretion of essence, and the speed of nurturing the essence stone." Zhu Beiwen let out a hum. Acknowledged. Meow. The fat cat caught a whiff of the scent, jumped into the owner's arms, lying on Sue's chest by the shore, staring at the essence. The pair of ruby eyes sparkled with intelligence. Dai Wu Jinshuang took the initiative, gently stroking the fat cat's head. "Eat up." The short whip spun around, suddenly twisted into a pill shape. The fat cat couldn't wait. "Swallow it whole." Zhu Beiwen clicked his tongue. "It looks like this is a spirit beast." The difference between spirit beasts and demon beasts. One is a noble pay-to-win player. One is a struggling, experienced farming player. "I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that." The power of spirit beast skills is quite strong. "No way." Who made them like those with special constitutions? It's all the foolishness of the heavenly way. What reward do you want? Dai Wu Jin Shuang looked at him. Zhu Beiwen was not being pretentious. "Bong Shendao, the cup has nothing to lean on." "Madam, is this made by the Empress?" he asked. "Very strange." Dai Wu Jin Shuang had a blank expression, a tone of understated casualness. "Of course it's strange. The furnace for refining tools and elixirs is at its peak perfection. The depth of martial arts cultivation is unfathomable. Why can one person unlock all their skills?" Zhu Beiwen picked up the ring. Slight doubt. "9 yen. Mind is very big." "It." Dai Wu Jin Shuang's tone became impatient again. A cold, piercing gaze struck. Zhu Beiwen's forehead burst forth with a drop of golden blood. The blood dripped onto the ring. Rings can be wide or narrow, just the right size to fit Zhu Beiwen's fingers. Put on the storage ring. Zhu Beiwen uses his consciousness to search for the ring. The ring has vast space. In the corner there are 2 bottles of elixirs. The value of the essence is not limited to this. The cold tone that came from his ear interrupted his thoughts. Zhu Beiwen couldn't help but sigh. Following such a boss, how can I not be completely devoted? Zhu Beiwen stored the remaining half of the essence in his storage ring, then respectfully said, "Thank you for the generous gift, Your Highness," although the purpose of the elixir is currently unknown. But the elixirs concocted by the female antagonist, isn't it an extraordinary thing? Dai Wu Jinshuang stared at him. "So what?" "So." Zhu Beiwen was confused. The fifth Jin Shuang lightly brushed her long sleeves. Zhu Beiwen was thrown backwards. "So, aren't you going to take care of it?" "Zufu." In the courtyard a proclamation was made. Shen Yaoi is wearing a mint green long dress. A glimpse of pure white scenery. Her long hair was loosely tied up. There is a lazy yet gentle beauty. Daughter visits father. She slightly bowed. The voice was as graceful as a painted eyebrow. Shen Jin nodded, then whispered a question. "What exactly is the Zhu family story?" Is this wedding still happening? Shen Yaoi is currently adjusting. Shake your head. Shen Jai immediately frowned. I don't know. Still not going to do it. He paused for a moment. She hesitantly asked, Yo. Shen Yaoi tucked a strand of hair behind Long's ear. The expression turned cold. I haven't said a word to her. Well, Shen Jai has moved in. The expression froze like a dead fish on a cutting board. No communication, let alone the original defense. She gazed directly at her daughter, suddenly raised the tone. Are you still thinking about that good-for-nothing? I should never have indulged you from the start. Going out to enjoy the mountains and waters. He Tian is not a loser. Shen Yaoi shouted for a retort. Shen Jai suddenly stood up. A hand slammed down on the stone table. Angrily said, You need to understand. Under Zhu Beiwang's brilliant accolades for Jin Kai, that useless person makes everything pale in comparison. How can a firefly compete with the bright moon? Even kicking shoes to Zhu Beiwang isn't something someone with the surname Yi is worthy of. A very sharp tone. Shen Yaoi's breathtaking seduction suddenly became popular. If it weren't for the lives of hundreds from the Shen family. The daughter has already healed herself. Shen Yaoi and the other party were at odds. The voice was choked with emotion. After becoming the canary among dragons, happiness is no longer related to her. Shen Jai's face turned pale with anger. She took a deep breath. The tone softened a bit. Grandpa won't hurt you. Zhu Beiwang is a husband that is hard to find even when kicking lanterns. Shen Yaoi self-mockingly. Aren't you quite disgusted with her? She suddenly felt grandfather is also a vile person who clings to power. Not bad. Zhu Beiwang's strength is weak, wreaking havoc everywhere. Her bad habits naturally became magnified. But times have changed. King Yun list no. 15. Strategic cunning is exceptionally outstanding. Such outstanding young talents. She originally called herself turning hands into clouds, turning the palm into rain. The Wu family was thoroughly humiliated. After witnessing this performance firsthand, she firmly believes this child had been lurking in the shadows. Shen Yaoi remained indifferent. The expression was also very indifferent. Seeing is believing. Shen Jai probed cautiously. Does Zhu Beiwang like you? Shen Yaoi was left speechless, silently watching for a few seconds. Then he spoke in a low, difficult voice. Not available. She emerged from those pitch-black eyes. Can't see a trace of love, comrade. Only indifference. To some extent, chattered her reserve and pride. Sometimes, Shen Yaoi even felt that this man looks at himself. It is no different from watching someone close to you being obstructed. Sigh. Shen Jai often sighed. It seems that way. The daughter is probably hard to catch Zhu Beiwang's eye. A hint of regret even flashed through her mind. If only I had arranged the marriage with the Zhu family a few years earlier. As an official enduring the tumult of court intrigues and alcohol, she is very clear about one thing. A person of low ability, yet cruel and heartless. Celebration of resilience. That is the evil treatment that everyone condemns. When a person possesses both exceptional talent and cunning, when there is no evil, they commit no wrongdoing. That is the branch of a hero. A world where the weak are preyed upon by the strong. It is just this kind of reality. 1-2. Father doesn't ask you for mutual support. But at least don't let the broken mirror separate us. Although my daughter has a pseudo-infinite physique, begin cultivation. It can filter out the impurities in the spiritual energy. But the path of martial arts, how could it go so smoothly? Once faced with significant setbacks, With her pure-hearted nature, it's hard to get over. Shen Yaoyi took a few quick steps, leaning on the railing, gazing at the lake view. The gaze gradually became blurred, even when lifting the tray with care. After all, the heart is hard to settle. There's no saving it. Shen's brows furrowed in anger. He shouted sternly, "Old man tells you, there is no elixir of regret in this world." Having finished speaking, she turned and left. The events that took place at the residence. Zhu Beiwang was unaware. Even if I know, he wouldn't care at all. The evening glow penetrates through the small window, illuminated on the man in the white robe, like a painting. Zhu Beiwang closed his eyes. The energy within me flows like water being absorbed, flowing through the Kai-Si meridians. He is solidifying his mid-level 8th rank realm, looking through a critical lens. The energy within me is pure and abundant, but the energy center is somewhat unaccustomed. The foundation is not solid enough. Blindly pursuing progress, there may be hidden dangers. Hidden dangers can lead to accidents, ultimately leading to shoddy construction. So, next, we need to suppress it temporarily. The allure of elevating one's realm. There is a knock at the door. Zhu Beiwang opened his eyes. Striding out. 6 bureaucrats stand outside the door. He said respectfully, "Zhu Gongzi, the commander invites you, the chief of the 6 gates." Zhu Beiwang gently wiped his sweaty hands, locked the door properly, followed the scribe and run. Along the way, falling into a terrifying silence. I can hear it, the breath of every constable in the farming clan. All became heavy, but incomparable awe. Zhu Gongzi had a conflict with the Wu family. A massive wave was stirred up in the capital. It was even more for the 6th Gate's constables, caused unimaginable waves. Strong and fearless. This is not a person from Ziwu. Is it what you have always dreamed of? Beiwan. Liu Mayo from the 2 Stripes dog oil bottle approached, enviously said, "Could I be so lucky? Please look north to intercept the solicitation for prostitution," looking north at Long Zhang's phoenix demeanor. "You should also taste the flavor of a beautiful person's tongue rolling in their mouth." Zhu Beiwang paused, dislike drowning in him. "Has there been a new courtesan released recently?" Liu Mayo. No. Zhu Beiwang's silhouette faded into the distance. In the distance, the shadow of Ximen Yinyu. The gaze added a few more layers of complexity, through layer upon layer of lofts. Under countless reverent gazes, Zhu Beiwang stepped into the headquarters. The simple and humble commander, Yi Shu, above the grand minister, slightly graying at the temples. Unremarkable appearance, a middle-aged man with a slight hunchback. Lu Bing, the commander of the 6 gates. Refer to Commander Lu. Zhu Beiwang bowed slightly in apology. He noticed. The gaze lingered on me. After a few breaths, Lu Bing stood up, smiling with squinted eyes. "The pillar of our 6 doors. No need for formalities." He spoke. The tone is friendly, radiating a tranquil aura. Yet it gives a sense of pressure like that of the moonlit abyss. Lu Bing also didn't engage in much small talk. "Let's get straight to the point. It is like this. You fear the Qingyun ranking. Can stand on their own now. Have you ever thought about becoming the team leader? It seems like they are discussing. Yet it felt like a command." Zhu Beiwang had suspicions upon his arrival. Le Shanmen team leader. It has always been a survival of the fittest. Insufficient strength. Then they are not qualified to lead a team of over 1,000. The subordinate is not good at balancing various aspects. "I can't do a good job as the group leader at all." He directly refused. Go find some lively chives. Isn't it fragrant? The sword energy has a strong attitude. Liu Bing frowned, but there was no rush to grab. A moment of silence. He smiled faintly. You are just a four-star constable of the 6 doors. But next month's martial arts assembly, you go too. Martial arts tournament, held once a year as usual. This year at the Snowfall Villa in Langya County. It is the host. It sounds very compelling, right? In fact, participating in the competition. They are all disciples of second-rate sects. Competing for first place, it is also to build the brand and promote it, thus garnering more support. The rivers and lakes are filled with fishermen and warriors. Imperial Court's 6 gates. Zhu Beiwing stopped in his tracks. The alley fell into prolonged silence, silently pretending to be a master. Your hair. A hoarse voice like that of a shield sword magic stone came from the shadows. Zhu Beiwang shouted, calmly said, "What brings you here?" A gentle breeze swept in. The red robe sleeves fluttered. "Nothing much. It's just out of curiosity. Little 6 doors. Surprisingly, I appeared at the same time. Shang Yu, this crouching dragon. And you, Zhu Beiwang, this phoenix chicks." The man said this. Zhu Beiwang's handsome face. A strange hue emerged. Shang Yu, Jiazu Patriarch, the leader of the 4 great constables. King Yan List Fifth, especially fond of showing off in front of others. You have average qualifications, yet can cultivate to this level of strength. Do I have a bit of charm? Shang Yu lifted her ordinary profile. Gazing at the firmament, Zhu Beiwang stared at his back. Su Yidao, those with ambition. It is time to enter the city. Shang Yu was briefly taken aback. Those with ambition. Is entering the city. Okay, very good. Deep and cultured. From now on, this sentence. It's mine now. He was filled with joy. The tone was understated. I really envy you. Through hard work, one can advance their cultivation. It's like I can get by without any effort. Zhu Beiwang smiled faintly. His gaze was quite strange. I'd envy you too. The Tower of Azure Energy has 89 floors. Considered a medium fortune child. Plunder. You must find an opportunity to plunder. You are qualified to let me know you. In the future, when facing challenges, just call out my name. The man roared fiercely. The figure disappeared without a trace. Never turned around from beginning to end. The level of sophistication is off the charts. Zhu Beiwang squinted his eyes. Step out of the alley. After seeing the fortune tower of Shang Yu, he suddenly had an idea. The Qingyan list truly encompasses all the outstanding talents. No omissions at all. How is that possible? In the Jiuzhou continent, there are prestigious families. Ancient tribe, each great doctrine, Rufamo Dao, and so on. These inheritors will not engage with the world at all, unless there is a chance from the heavenly way. And the mysterious Tianji Pavilion, the celestial book opens once every 12 years. Next year is just the right time. At that time, the heroes will walk the earth. Martial arts genius is not as good as a dog. Now the top 5 of the Qingyan rankings, after the heavenly book was opened. It is highly likely that I won't make it into the top 20. I can't wait. Imagine the scene where the outstanding talents of the world gather. Zhu Beiwang is eager to give it a try. He seemed to have a premonition. Can one become supreme on their own? It all depends on this book of heaven. Zhu Gongzi. Outside the Yang Gate, someone claims to be your friend. I would like to come and meet you. Zhu Beiwang's cultivation was interrupted again. He stared at the constable. A person introduced himself as Liu Dongfang. The constable respectfully replied. Zhu Beiwen felt a slight doubt. Who is this? However, he remained calm. Let him in. About the time it takes to burn a stick of incense. Footsteps echoed in the corridor. Two men with similar appearances. Nervous and uneasy. Walking very slowly. Liu Dongfang took a deep breath. Pushed open the door. The renowned Zhu Gongzi, standing as deputy. Expression calm and indifferent. A white robe embroidered with golden patterns. The elegance gathered amidst the sound of rain. Zhu Gongzi. Liu Dongfeng adjusted his expression. Shouted with excitement, "Do you remember, little brother? Let's pick up some silver together. Traveling together to the southern market." Zhu Beiwing scrutinized him for a few seconds. And then sweaty palms. "I can't remember the name. But this face, I still have a slight impression. Of course, I am deeply impressed by you." Zhu Beiwen's words conveyed a sense of tranquility. There is no such scholar. You can't obtain beauty. Then it is naturally impossible to kill the strange demon pig. The essence has completely eluded him. Lacks essence. After that, we couldn't get Cheng Pai and Chu Wu Jai. What brings you here? Zhu Beiwing smiled faintly. He personally checked on the two of them. Liu Dongfang was taken aback, then said somewhat awkwardly, "I mainly want to ask young Master Zhu for a favor." As the voice fell silent, the atmosphere fell silent in an instant. Zhu Beiwing leaned against the chair back, fingers rhythmically tapping on the table edge. He seemed to recall something. Inquired, "How do you know me? I remember not revealing my name last time." Liu Dongfeng slightly bowed his head to show respect, and then envied. "Master Zhu ranks high on the Qingyan list after one battle. There are images of outstanding talents on the Qingyan ranking." Little brother finally understood. Unable to recognize the greatness of Taishan, he was truly shocked. "I thought he was just the son of a powerful family. I never expected it to be a prodigy. A single strike to defeat the peak of the 8th rank, facing humiliation from the 5 nations. Moreover, she is a close confidant of the Empress. The resentment from being robbed at that time. Long gone. Only the worship of the strong remains." Zhu Beiwang took a sip of tea. "Pending Dao, if it's convenient. I will take action." Actually, he is just being polite. Who would waste time on insignificant people? Liu Dongfang was overjoyed. Impatiently said, "It all started like this. The village of Xiaodi is located on the outskirts of Jing City. A few days ago, several powerful tomb raiders have appeared in the village. The ancestral grave was being dug up while my eyes were wide open. The younger brother was both angry and scared. Unfortunately, my strength is lacking, only able to seek help. Lu Dun." He swore solemnly. "One thing at a time. Mr. Zhu, your time is precious. I will offer a generous reward. I will never let Zhu Gongzi help for nothing." After speaking, he looked anxious. Tomb raiding violates the great precept. This falls within the jurisdiction of the 6 doors. He originally wanted to casually recruit a few constables. Can the constable deal with the tomb robbers? So he held onto the idea of giving it a try. Arrived here, even if it doesn't work out, there is also a chance to curry favor with young Master Zhu. Then kneel and flatter him. Zhu Beiwang frowned slightly. Who would value your reward? He was just about to voice his refusal, suddenly looked up. He looked at the aura above Liu Dongfan's head. But in an instant, Zhu Beiwen felt as if struck by lightning. It was so shocking. The light rapidly surged. It's like a rocket soaring into the sky. The towering waves surged to the 98th floor. 98 floors. What a fortunate coincidence this is. You are my brother. Since you spoke up, I will not hesitate to do my duty. Zhu Beiwang suddenly stood up. The voice was decisive and unwavering. Liu Dongfang was overjoyed. Really agreed. Such a dignified person, just because of a fleeting encounter, but is willing to lend a helping hand. Liu Dongfang's eyes were red, waiting for the night road. Zuxin's high intention. The younger brother was moved to tears. Saying this, "Look at my younger brother, Liu Zifeng, beside me. I said it long ago. Zuxin has a kind heart, bone knife, hot intestines. I am in trouble. How could he possibly not help? Remember, Zuxin is the destined benefactor of the Liu family." Mute mouse. Zhu Beiwen collided with the four elements. I casually asked, "Liu Dai, why do I always feel? Your language is unclear." Liu Dongfang's excited smile, frozen in an instant. Zhu Beiweng's expression twisted. This piercing gaze swept over. Liu Zifeng, who was already trembling with fear, even more scared, trembling uncontrollably. Then Liu Dongfang slapped himself across the face. With a mournful face said, "Brother Zhu, younger brother lied. That is not my family's ancestral grave." As he narrated, the situation is gradually becoming clearer. The owner of the tomb is the village chief of Li family village. Since I have no wife and no children, in life I was an eighth-rank dancer. Liu Dongfang speculated. There should be burial goods in the tomb. This triggered his greed, always plotting to rob the grave for treasure. But just last night, back mountain grave forest, several shadowy figures appeared, although the village Zhengmu was intact the next day. But Liu Dongfang was anxious. This is where the tomb raiders are scouting for tombs, surveying the feng shui. Maybe we'll take action tonight. Cannot be robbed by tomb raiders. So he hurriedly sought out Yuan. "You want to intercept." Zhu Beiwen listened after. The expression was completely emotionless. Liu Dongfang's face was filled with shame. "Nana's younger brother is not doing well. To this day I still feel heartbroken. The girl in unrequited love shamelessly humiliates her little brother. The mentor has also distanced himself from the younger brother. Classmates look down on the little brother even more." As they spoke, so angry that I couldn't speak, Zhu Beiwang took a faint sip of the fragrant tea. Nah for comment. Usually this kind of waste. It's easy to step in dog poop luck. Then turned around to show off and slap the face. "Brother Zhu, the best treasure in the tomb is yours. The little brother only wants defective items." Liu Dongfang's tears have not yet dried. The voice was tinged with tears. Zhu Beiwang slowly got up, unable to reach him. With determined eyes, "What does it mean to be a brother? That is, right or wrong, it doesn't matter. I will help you all. Reality and illusion. Wait for me at the city gate. Brother Zhu." Liu Dongfang was stunned. Then excitement filled their face. Zuxin fights against the heavens. Little brother doesn't know how to express his gratitude. Liu Dongfang choked up again. The whole person was moved to tears. "I wish I could dig out the new nest right on the spot. Show it to Zhu Beiwang." Zhu Beiwang waved his hand, smiled. "Not worth mentioning." "Go ahead." Liu Dongfang nodded emphatically, then left contentedly with his younger brother. In the hallway, Liu Zifeng couldn't help but sigh. "Elder brother, Master Zhu is really handsome. That charm is simply outstanding. Your smile is like a gentle spring breeze. The key is to be a prodigy on the Qingyun rankings. So calm and easygoing. Truly rare." Liu Dongfeng held his chin up, boasting with a smug expression. "That is, Your brother is exceptionally talented and charming. The people we associate with are not ordinary. Inside the silent mouse, Zhu Beiwing paced back and forth. The light of opportunity. So wonderful. There is a hidden crisis. The crisis does not lie with Liu Shisheng, but the Wu family, under the emperor's feet, under pressure from various public opinions. This is equivalent to giving it to 5 nations. A perfect opportunity for revenge and to reclaim honor. But facing the brilliant light of the 98th floor, Zhu Beiwing truly couldn't resist this temptation. Be vigilant in times of peace. Prepare for a rainy day. After all, I am not the chosen one. There is no such thing as a guardian. But it's not that I don't have money. Liao Guangdai in Yu Bong Gong, 3rd-rank Grand Master. The money is in place. It's easy to handle. Night falls. The night illuminated by lights is like daytime. Zhu Beiwang arrived at the city gate. He has already bribed Elder Yu. There is a signal lock between the two. Once Zhu Beiwing activates the signal lock, Yugong will rush over. Brother Zhu. The Liu brothers waiting at the tea temple, excitedly waving. 2 people are leading 3 horses over. Zhu Beiwang sweaty hands. Time is of the essence. Let's go. The 3 of them mounted their horses. A family of horse crossing, racing away, far away. An old man with one eye leaned on a cane, gazing intently at that figure in white robes. A smile flickered at the corner of his mouth. He secretly kept watch. Finally caught the opportunity. You don't take the path to paradise. You choose to enter a hell without a door. Make the queen look bad. Kill my warrior clan. Little odds and ends. Do you still dare to leave the city? You won't die for a day. I was nailed to the pillar of shame for 51 days, unable to get down. Close to midnight, the 4th watch. Empty fields. 3 black dots are racing desperately. The long sound of the 3 horses' neighs echoed. Zhu Beiwing pulled on the reins. Level gaze at Liu Shisheng. Have we arrived? Liu Dongfeng pointed at the mountain behind the village. With great respect, I say, Brother Zhu, that's the place. Surrounded by darkness. Liu Zifeng took a lantern off the horse and lit it. 3 people take a shortcut, head towards the back mountain. A grave sight. 2 men in black are standing outside, holding a shovel covered in dirt. Let's head into the city, brothers. Do you have any zanzi? Zombies have already risen from the ground. The 2 were chatting casually. Suddenly, heavy footsteps echoed through the air. What kind of person? The tomb raiders quickly spotted the 3 figures, charging and roaring. The sound resounded through the bell. 2 figures in black emerged from the tomb. May I ask if the 3 of you are Yuan Liang? A gaunt and emaciated face. Prominent cheekbones. He looks like a sickly old man. Sharp gaze. The cripple beside me quietly circulated his internal energy. Yuan Liang. It's a copper wall. I never expected this tomb to be sealed with copper nails. Quickly kneeled down. Do you know what kind of existence you are facing? Liu Dongfang stood tall, arrogantly disdainful of the 4 thieves. The sick old ghost scrutinized the man in the white robe. Handsome appearance, regal presence. An air of aloofness surrounded him. He said cautiously, The rule of first come, first served. Your Excellency. Roll away. The cold word cut off his speech. The cripple's gaze is as cunning as a fly. Fingers curled like hooks. Loudly said, boastful and unashamed. There is a kind that is my dragon's claw hand, dominating and fierce. Zhao Zubi rushed over. Zhu Beiwang calmly waved his hand. The shockwave swept out. Majestic pressure. Bum. The cripple fell to the ground with a thud. Half of his body sank directly into the ground. Blood gushed from the 7 orifices. How is that possible? The sick old ghost causes great harm. The moment has arrived. 3 hurricanes swept through the surroundings. A line of blood appeared on everyone's neck. Breath dissipates. Too strong. Liu Dongfang was dumbfounded. 2 8th rank officials, 2 9th rank officials, in front of Brother Zhu, just like 4 jumping grasshoppers, easily crushed to death. Moreover, Zhu Qin killed the person, not even blinking. What are you staring at? Go in first. A calm voice came from nearby. 3 people, 1 in front and 1 behind, walking into the eerie, dimly lit tomb. The air was thick with a pungent stench in the cave. In the middle stood a mottled coffin. It seems the tomb raiders haven't had the chance to pry open the coffin yet. Let's get started. Zhu Beiwing stepped away from the coffin a few paces. Zhao Liu said to Dongfang. Liu Dongfang picked up the crowbar from the ground. Each person pried aside with Liu Zifeng, the 2 of them little by little. Prise open that coffin lid. Then he covered it with a lantern. Liu Zifeng screamed while pinching her nose. Coward. Liu Dongfeng kicked him. Turning around, said, just recognition. A decaying corpse lay in the coffin. Recognition of many small dots crawling out from the wreckage's mouth and eye sockets. Next to the wreckage was a moldy rosewood box. Baby. Liu Dongfang's eyes sparkled with excitement. Tao Tian Jiayuan. Zhu Beiwing behind him also found it hard to remain calm. The radiance of the Kaiyun Tower was so intense it was almost outrageous. Almost blinded him. Even a few beams of light drifted towards the 99th floor. Liu Dongfang trembled as he reached out, ignoring the stinging, foul odor, bending down to pick up the rosewood box. He wiped away the dust, and then slowly opened. A figure in a white robe suddenly appeared beside me. Inside the rosewood box, there are only 3 items. A secret manual wrapped in sheepskin scrolls, a shield, stacked golden nails. Brother Zhu, the younger brother said, I will give you a generous reward. I will not go back on my word. Liu Dongfang said while, throwing away the sheepskin scroll, opened the secret manual. Wuchen sword technique. It turns out to be a secret of high quality. His heart was pounding. Lips tremble uncontrollably. If I possess this secret book, is it he? Isn't he?